And, yeah, so I got a total of 14 questions for you guys. I do hope to get through most of them. Some of them, my apologies if they sound like stupid questions. I wrote them up last night, a couple of them last minute, so some of the questions are might be a little weird, but, yeah. So, first thing, tell me about yourselves. Tell me about the positions you guys do in the band and everything else.
Alright, yeah. I mean, I'm Joe and Spizz. I pretty much been the vocalist of the band. And yeah, that's what I do. Codes I had given me.
Yeah, Joe played drums. And I guess aside from that, Spizz and I do most of this stuff, I guess you could say. The behind the scenes stuff.
So, you drum. Do you do any backing vocals at all? Because I know a lot of drummers do backing vocals.
Funny you asked that. I know you mentioned Red 13 earlier. I do have a couple layered backing vocals in that song, and then a couple of our new songs coming up. I have some screams in there, but to be determined if I'll be doing that live or not. I guess we'll see.
All right, nice. And when did you guys form the band?
We formed it, I think, back in, Koza was, we weren't announced as a band, but we started the band, I think, back in 2019, early 2019, but we didn't actually, announce our band, I think, until around 2021, was it? Or,
yeah, 21.
Late 21, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I mean, you guys picked up a lot of traction in a really short amount of time. That is awesome.
Yeah, we definitely grinded it out during COVID and got to work on those songs, and so we could plan ahead and whatnot for the future.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking through the music, the first song I heard was Red 13. I was looking for metalcore music to listen to and add to my shows and whatnot, and I was not paying attention to the view numbers, nothing like that. And then when I actually messaged you guys and you guys got back, I was like, okay, cool. I went to go look on Spotify to listen to the rest of the music, and I'm seeing thousands of plays and thousands of monthly listeners. I'm like, oh, I'm nervous for this one. I'm like, oh, I did not know that. I did not know how big they were. But all right.
That's cool to hear, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
You guys aren't too far from me. I'm out in New Jersey, so I just realized you guys are out in New York, so that's cool.
Where in Jersey are you?
I'm over in Morris County.
Oh, okay. I live in, because I'm in Jersey too. But most of the band's in New York, but there's a few of us from Jersey. And I live over in State County.
Nice. Yeah. So that's a few hour drive, but...
Yeah, I mean, still Jersey, right?
Yeah. Alrighty.
Do you guys say pork rolls or Taylor ham?
Oh, I say Taylor ham, personally.
Alright, same.
I don't know anybody that says pork roll, at least over here.
Good.
Alrighty, so next question I have for you is, Red 13 is your newest release, but is there any new releases that you are working on?
Yeah, actually we are, I guess you could say it now, right? Because I'm guessing, because literally on Monday.
You get a little bit of an exclusive today here.
Well, there we go.
No, we're going to actually drop our teaser, I think, on, Monday, right? Or was it Tuesday?
Monday.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Tuesday. Because, the holiday. Well, not a holiday, but...
What holiday?
There's a holiday on Monday?
It's not a holiday, but it's I guess, I wouldn't call it a holiday. It's September 11th.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
Shit.
We don't want to really post on that day because...
Did I curse on this? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Just don't go crazy with cursing, you're good.
Yeah, no, I forgot that, so maybe it should be Tuesday. Alright, anyway, yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm surprised if you're the one who suggested it. You're like, oh, we should do it on Tuesday instead.
Yeah, I totally forgot the date. They'll blend after a while.
But yeah, in 2 weeks we're gonna drop a new song.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I'll be playing the shit out of that.
It's the heaviest song we've ever actually, I think, written. So hopefully people like it. And yeah.
Does the vocals hurt your throat when you do that type of stuff? Because I tried dabbling into the metalcore, deathcore stuff to mess around and make music, and I couldn't talk for like 3 hours after I was done making a 2-minute song.
Yeah, it's funny because it's different for different people, but anyone can do it without there's a right way of doing everything. And start screaming, you're always gonna do it wrong. Like you can't just do it right. But I think part of hurting your throat, not to the point where like you're in like substantial pain, but where you're screaming and you're like, all right, maybe I shouldn't scream anymore. That's fine. You kind of have to like warm it up, not warm it up. You have to kind of like tear it up like a muscle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out, you have to scream to figure out how to actually scream. So it doesn't hurt my voice. It used to. I used to actually play the drums for one of my older bands, and I would do vocals as well. So I'd be playing on the kit, exerting my body and also yelling into a microphone. And once I stopped playing the drums, it was like easy. It was like I was playing on hard mode when I was screaming on the kit, and then when I got off the kit, it was like easy. So it's not I have my moments where it does start, it could hurt, but it's knowing when to stop and and take a break and picking it up when you feel better.
Yeah. So, what's harder to do with your music? Is it the vocals or staying on rhythm with the instrumental that you have on?
I think rhythm's easy for me. It's more so sustaining. Because the thing is, I scream, but I also sing, and I also like false chord scream, and it's more so just kind of keeping everything consistent while I'm doing it. That's my main focus, and definitely tough, but
yeah.
I manage it for the most
part. Alrighty. So, next question I have here is, it looks like you guys worked with Awake at Last on the song Stigma. Tell me about your experience working with them on the song.
Cool, were you there for that? So I don't want to answer all the questions. I feel bad.
I think that was, most of that was just before I joined. It was being wrapped up, at least.
So our old bassist, Noor, he had personal stuff he had to handle, so he ended up leaving the band. Still really tight with him. But he actually toured with Awake at Last as their temporary touring bassist, so he had a good connection with Vince from there and Imran that was in the band. I remember, I don't know if it was, I don't want to take credit for it, but I'm pretty sure I asked, I was like, can we ask, them if they want to be on the song? And I think, I did. And then Nora was like, oh, you want that? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So one day Vince drove down from, I forget where he lives, and I don't know if he doesn't live close, but he drove down to do the feature, and he's super cool, super nice guy, loves D&D. He brought a D&D book with him, which was kind of funny.
Is he really? That's so unbrand.
I took a photo out of one of them because it reminded me of our guitarist, Seb. And I took a photo of it, and I have it as my Discord screenshot. And, but super cool guys. Vince was really I wrote it, obviously he knew what he had to sing lyric-wise. But he wanted to really put a spin on it, and, he did an awesome job. Super nice guys, super cool, and we have some stuff coming up with them in the future that, we'll be announcing, in the future. But right now, we're still good friends with them, and we'll definitely be working with them, in the future.
Yeah, nice. Alrighty. Next question I have is, since you guys are a metalcore / electronic core, I would say, band, what made you want to take up that genre versus any other genres of metal?
Okay, so go ahead. Sorry. You can take this one.
We might have different answers.
I know. Well, I'm sure you'll be close to me.
I think we all just like that, I guess, division, or I don't know what you want to call it, but that sector of metalcore where it kind of incorporates a bunch of different things. And I know Spizz and I listen to a lot of music outside of metal and metalcore and hardcore and all that. We listen to a lot of electronic stuff and alternative stuff that has electronics in it, so kind of just adds an extra layer to what we're doing. And I think the scene kind of as a whole is kind of, we're not doing it for this reason, but now it's funny because we're finding more and more bands that are kind of moving in that direction where it's less I'd say like less emphasis on the riff, like back in the mid 2000s and even early teens, where now it's more around this like atmosphere and other elements rather than just like old school. I don't know, like Parkway Drive, Bullet for My Valentine, where it was just like very riff heavy. So we try to kind of blend both the stuff that we grew up on and stuff that we like now, and then having it sound as modern as it can, and kind of like maybe not us single-handedly paving the way forward, obviously, but just being part of something where we see it going.
Yeah. All right. And the next question I have here is, what are some of your hobbies outside of creating music?
For me, primarily I just enjoy working out. Gym is important. The music's it's probably my main hobby. But video games and stuff like that. The normal fun stuff. Gym. I do like to rollerblade, but I haven't rollerblade in a while. I've been wanting to get back into that. But I don't know why. I sound boring. So like the moment. Oh, I have other ones like small things, but like I collect cologne. Some weird. I don't know. Yeah, I like to collect some. Like sometimes, yes. Kaz, go ahead. You can go. That's probably.
Yeah, whenever you get asked this question, you always feel like oh, what do I do? Yeah, same. A lot of the same. A lot of gym is probably up there. Lifting is like probably number 2 behind music, especially nowadays. I do go down rabbit holes occasionally. I got really into like pour over coffee stuff during COVID. I love doing that. I was into like, just name random stuff for you. I was into like wet shaving for a little bit with a safety razor. I went down that rabbit hole. I'll get like invested in certain things for a little bit, and then I just like
wet shave.
Yeah, like lathering with the like old school shaving with the brush and stuff. I went down a rabbit hole, dude, in like 2018 maybe 2019, and that was like, it's a hobby for a lot of people. Yeah, but it's like, that's not a staple. If you're asking me my go-to stuff, it's really music, gym, sports occasionally, although that was bigger when I was growing up, before music really took over, but...
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think it was Spizz mentioned rollerblading, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I paid money to see that.
Yeah, well... I can't rollerblade to save my life. Somebody would have to pay money for that one. I'd fall right on my ass and that would be the end of it. Alrighty. So, next question I have here is, do you have any plans to go on tour or do any concerts soon?
Yeah, we have something, tour no, but we're cooking up something right now. That we're planning hopefully to announce within the next couple months. But we never played a show before. But we're coming to the point now where we're kind of like, all right, I think it's time setting that ball rolling. So we wanted to make our first show special. So we're in the works with that right now, and you definitely hear something back soon. And obviously, since you live in New Jersey, we expect to see you there.
Hell yeah, man. Oh man, I'd be down. Just you gotta book it at like, I don't know, Prudential or MetLife or something. Go big or go home, you know?
Alright. You definitely will be coming.
Hey, man.
He's like, oh, actually, I live in Denver. Did I say New Jersey?
No, I live in Tampa Bay, Florida. What are you talking about now? Alrighty. So, next question I have here. I feel like I'm flying through the questions, but the next one I have here is, what's your favorite experience so far as a band?
None. Koza, what about you?
Every day we talk about quitting. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, not every day.
I'm really not.
You're
Really not
joking.
kidding.
Which is funny.
We joke. Favorite experience so far.
Yeah, I got one, I guess. We've met a lot of people just from being in the band, obviously, and I don't really have many friends outside of my band, so my band's technically like my group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a nice experience. But also like meeting other people too. Like and learning we've learned so much within like the last like two years. Like it's crazy. Like if I think back to before we started the band or when we were forming the band, like what I know now, even as a vocalist, like is so drastically like different than it was at the beginning. So
yeah,
that's definitely definitely good. Yeah,
that's a good, because I was gonna say like an experience, like something we did or whatever, but I think the whole thing, not as like a cop out answer, but like the whole experience of taking a band from basically zero. I mean, we all come from experiences in other bands and have done stuff, but taking a project from zero and seeing it like pretty much grow consistently. We've plateaued here and there with certain things, but generally it's a very upward trend. And when you do that in like a very DIY way, I guess that as one big experience has been very fulfilling for us.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I think it was Spizz said, I'm trying to remember now. I'm half asleep here. But about just being in the band and just because you're in the band, you're getting like a lot of connections and stuff like that. I mean, I guess that kind of ties into the interview today, because if Advent wasn't a thing, I would just be doing a normal show, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's really cool that you stumbled upon us in a very organic way. Like, we hear that all the time from people just in life. Like, I saw you get, before, it's like people that we've met along the way before we even knew them. They're like, oh, you're in that band, or we'll have mutual connections with people that are like from other places in the country, and they'll be like, oh, those are my boys from back home, and we're like, what? Like, they just know of us, so it's really cool.
Yeah, I had a friend, because I was recommending a bunch of different music to a friend. I recommended Advent, and he's like, I know who Advent is. I'm like, you do? He's like, yeah, every time I listen to Era songs, they pop up in my recommended. I was like, have you listened to their music? No. So I just gave him your entire, like, every single song that you guys made, I just threw out. I'm like, here, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this.
That's sick, man. Thank you.
Of course, man.
That's how it happens. We appreciate it.
I try to do my best to help out and promote bands that I could, and I wouldn't say you guys are a small band by any means, but I would say, like, you're definitely growing, and if I can help, even just get, like, an additional 3 listeners on your music, that's pretty much what I do, what the DJs do. Like, Castle Blakk Radio, we try to focus on a lot of, like, smaller bands, local bands, and, like, unsigned bands, and we try to get them on the airwaves, try to get them playing, recommended to people. If you're still in the chat, we actually have a band member. I actually interviewed him before, Scully from Seasons of the Wolf. He's one of the people that we help out a lot, but he also helps us out a lot, and thank you, Scully, for that. But yeah, it's basically just a premise of like what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of how it all works. Like at the end of the day, right? Like, it's kind of like you're like people kind of saying, hey, like check out this band, and then. Like, even us, I think we shot a music video yesterday, and I remember Koza was like, he's like, who the hell's listening to us, who's Shazamming us, and I forget where it was like Indonesia or something.
Oh, and yeah, we get these, like, recap emails about how many Shazams we get in a week, and there were, like, multiple people, and I think it was, like, Jakarta, and I was like, what? Like, I barely know where that is, and people are listening to us there. It's, like, wild.
Even their mouth, it's just like somebody might just be playing the song, and then like they're like, oh, listen to the song, and then they listen to it, and they're like, well, they don't say listen to the song, just Shazam it because their friend's playing it, and then there you go, done, problem solved. Like we have a new listener. So do appreciate you setting up the music and whatnot, because that's kind of probably what at the end of the day got us to where we're at right now, and anything that happens in the future, that's kind of how it works. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Next question I have here is, have you done any interviews with this band before?
Yeah. I mean, we have. I mean, how many have we done? Because we haven't done that many, but we've done
probably coming up on like maybe 10, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. 8 to 10.
I think we're like 8. Yeah.
Nice.
Like 8. Yeah.
I was expecting you guys to say yes to that question, but you never know, because a lot of people, I've actually contacted tons of bands in the past, and even smaller bands. I'm like, yeah, let's do an interview, and they're like, sorry, no, not happening. I'm like, wait, what? Why? What did I do to you?
Yeah. I mean, any press, as we said, any press is good press. Like, only, if you can't have a conversation and, answer some, simple questions, then, there's no problem. So, like I said, having your name out there on anything is good. So.
Yeah.
Aside from that, just you finding us and wanting to talk to us is kind of just an honor that you give a shit about us. So, of course, to take some time out to just talk about this stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, that's why I don't understand why other bands have done that before in the past, but it is what it is. I am also newer into the whole DJ scene, and also just a fun fact, I am the youngest DJ here on Castle Blakk Radio. I'm only 20, so, I've been doing this...
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. I've been doing this for about... I've been doing DJing for about 3 months. I've been on Castle Blakk for 2, so... I'm also, I can't even speak. Also, while the bands and everybody else is trying to grow, I'm also trying to grow as well, so... I'm always trying to do what I could to help cross-promote and work with people and platform people. So, yeah.
Keep it up. Just as like a small thing, I'm 28 now. When I was somewhere around your age, maybe, actually I was younger when I started, but I used to do a lot of press stuff for smaller outlets online with like interviews and album write-ups and stuff, and that was like my first little taste of like industry quote-unquote side of things, and you could learn a ton through doing that, so just stick with it.
Hey, thank you. I have a buddy of mine who, his brother, he's part of a band and does a bunch of stuff, and actually how he started off before he did any music and everything is he just interviewed a lot of bands near him, and one of the bands he interviewed, I don't know if you would know them, the Gaslight Anthem.
Oh yeah, of course.
They're actually from my hometown. I think it's the singer or guitarist, I don't know, Alex Levine. He's from my hometown, so I've been trying to get them on for an interview for a while. That's a whole process, but yeah,
they're a cool band. I used to bump a lot of their shit back in the day. I gotta revisit them, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been listening to their music here and then, but nothing crazy. Alrighty. So, next question here I have for you is, if you had to recommend to people listening right now 3 songs that you have made, which songs would you recommend?
I feel like our answers might be very close. I think the first one I would recommend, because most people, it usually depends the person, but if it's someone who's not like, who wants to like kind of like flow into it, I would say Stigma, Relentless, and Red 13 as of right now. I think that will change with the newer songs, but yeah, I think Stigma, Relentless, Red 13. Yep.
I'm gonna keep it the same, except I'm gonna swap Stigma for Match My Misery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar vibe-ish, kinda, but I don't know, something about that song just kind of does it for me. But with the stuff that we have coming, again, like Spizz said, that could change very soon. But as of right now, those would be my 3.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it would be probably the triple shot I played today, to be honest. Match My Misery, Stigma, and Red 13. I mean, Red 13's a given. Even though it's their newest song, that's probably my favorite song.
I'll hear it.
Thank you.
No problem. And, yeah, I think that would have to be the list, because let me look at the songs, because I have all the music here. I have a terrible memory sometimes. Alright, so Negative Space. Yeah, it would have to be those 3 for me. Definitely. Alright. So, this question is a huge $1 million, big shot in the dark question. Not expecting anything crazy, but do you guys have any merch that you would be willing to send my way so I can help promote you guys off the air and even on the air if I could?
Yeah, I think we actually can technically send you something. What did we have? I think because we just ordered some stuff in. So we'll probably send you a Red 13 shirt. Oh, what size are you?
A large, I think.
Oh yeah. I think
we did a pre-order for our new Red 13. We did a shirt and a hat, and we got a couple extra of each size up from what people ordered, so we could send you something.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll message you about shipping details and all that stuff later.
Yeah.
Or either that, or I can just put myself on blast on the air. No. Alrighty. So, next question I have for you is, what are some tips that you would give new and upcoming artists just starting out?
Don't change your career choice.
Don't start. No.
Don't start. Just quit. Close. You can say it. I've been answering all these questions first. You go first.
Oh, no, you're good. There's a lot, and it might seem predictable, but I guess they're cliches or go-tos for a reason. I would say the two biggest things. Number one, when you get started, literally just don't stop, because in the beginning, things, you might be like, oh, what's the point? Before you really see any results, you're going to be putting in a lot of work and a lot of time, and it's literally for zero dopamine hit in your brain for a very long time. So it's a lot of people just give up, and they're like, well, what's the point? And then throughout the process, even when you're putting stuff out, you might think, well, how much longer, is X going to take? I thought we'd be here by now. Literally just don't stop, because you never know when that moment is coming for you. And then two, I would say, if you find yourself in the opportunity where you're playing shows or on the road touring, because I have a good amount of tour experience at this point with other bands and stuff, literally just be a cool person to hang out with. Because you could be the best player in the world, you can write the best songs, but if nobody wants to hang out with you for the 23 and a half hours in a day that you're not on stage, you are not going to get opportunities. So those would be my two biggest tips.
And I think one thing, I have so many, but I think the one thing I would say that helps us out the most is do not, don't rush anything, and even Kyle said with the dopamine, whatever. When you make a song, you're gonna be like, wow, this song is the best song ever, and then you're gonna some people like to release their music without any pre-planning or without educating themselves on anything. Don't waste your art just throwing it out there. Study up, figure out what the best methods are to there's so many videos on YouTube you can watch, but having hundreds of thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars thrown into a campaign isn't going to get your song, where it is. Make sure you investigate a little bit. Don't jump the gun, and be patient with your music. Don't, there's an analogy for this. Is it the don't put all your eggs in the basket?
Yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah.
Don't do that. So just be patient and make sure it's as good as it, your music is as good as it, could be, and also that your marketing and your branding and everything else, you have to look professional. So, like I said, just make sure, don't jump the gun, be patient, and don't waste your art without proper planning. I guess that's the most, discombobulated way I can explain it, but...
Yeah,
it's a conversation that could last for hours, honestly, because even with the stuff that we do, we look back on certain things that might not be a huge deal, but we're like, we'll do that differently next time, and you're just constantly learning and refining.
Yeah. For me, I want to do some type of a solo rock project, probably something more along the metal lines, and I've tested it out a lot with myself, but for me, my hardest thing when it comes to actually creating the song, the lyrics are fine, the instrumental is fine, but as soon as I get to the vocals and try to match up with the rhythm, it sounds terrible. It is off.
But that's also what, thing is, like in the beginning, like when we started the band, I'll be honest, like for me, like yeah, I can like scream and even somewhat sing, but like having a producer is really useful when it comes to stuff like that, because these are producers have worked with so many different people with their own different issues. So when you're, for us, like as a band, when we started out, we were like, oh, we had songs, like these songs are good, but we're like, one of our band members, Nora, was like, oh, we should probably go to a producer, and we were like, oh, okay, I guess we can go to a producer. And then once we did that, I learned way more about my voice. I think we all learned a lot of different things through that process. So for you, like on the timing and stuff, like if you feel like that's an issue, maybe it's you should go to a producer and work with them and see, especially if a producer can sing, they definitely can help refine your voice and also help you with any issues that you're having, because they'll definitely be able to fix that issue in studio when you're working with them.
Yeah.
So I always recommend that if you're having issues with that, say, hey, like throw it's, if you gotta have money to do it, obviously, but like hey, like I want to do this. There's a lot of different producers out there that could definitely help you with that. So that would be my recommendation.
I would if I'm gonna release anything, like any type of music that's like, I have a whole gags solo project that I work on. That's just a joke. But my actual like what would be serious music, I would do it more out of like a passion. I wouldn't really try to chase like a job out of it, because I feel like that's a lot of my things that I do. Because aside from DJing, I've also run 2 YouTube channels. I do a Twitch. I do all of that stuff, and sure, I've made money doing it. But the big thing for me is like, if I'm not passionate about something, then I don't want to do it. But like having the rock music thing, I want to do it. Like I have that passion for it. So at some point, maybe I might dump some money into a producer, see what I can do, and try to release something actually listenable that doesn't sound like complete shit.
Hey, I mean, listen, we're all our own worst critics, so.
Oh yeah.
You might not think this sounds bad, but other people might think it sounds pretty good. You don't know.
Yeah, I have
Just like.
I'm the same way. I'm very self-critical. I can do something can get done 110% correct, and I'll be like, I could have done it better. Could have done this better, and that's something that gets on my nerves, especially when I try to create music. Because I created something, I think like last week or 2 weeks ago, and it actually sounded fine rhythmatically, but it just wasn't clicking with me. Everybody I showed like the song to, they're like, okay, this doesn't sound terrible. You can maybe change this up and this up. I'm like, no, I have to like redo the entire song. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a musician thing. Like, that's not a you thing. It's more so like, I think anybody whose work, it's your art, right? It's your music. You can show it to other people and they're gonna think it sounds fine, but if it's not matching up to your expectation, then it's not done.
Yeah.
You have to be happy with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Alrighty. So, next question I have is, what inspired the name of your band?
I mean, I think I have to answer this question. I'll answer this question too.
Yeah, it's all you.
Yeah. Fuck. So yeah, pretty much, I think we were originally named Ashen. The band was ASHN.
Mm-hmm.
Before we announced the band, we're like, alright, our name's Ashen, we had a logo, we were ready to go, and then we kind of looked on Spotify and whatever, and then we noticed there was a new band that just came out, and guess what their name was? Ashen. And they were another metalcore band like us, and were doing pretty good, like, they were brand new and they were hitting pretty good numbers, so we're just like, you know what, I guess we can't use the name anymore, because we don't want to, like, have to change our name in the future, or have, be another metalcore band that's named Ashen. So, I don't know, one day I was just thinking of different names, and I thought of Advents, and I was like, that'd be pretty cool, because, the definition of Advents is, like, oh my god, what we're saying. I'm trying to remember what the definition was, and I'm not going to look it up, because I do know what it is. It means pretty much, like, something notable, like showing up, like the arrival of something like important, and like to us, like our music was like we were sitting on the songs for a long time. We wanted to release them, but we waited because we wanted to make sure that everything was fine, and perfect. And so I was like, Advents makes sense because like these songs to us are like, they're notable, they're important, like they're technically like they're Advents, like that's us, like we're Advents, our music is important. So I was like, hey, why not name the band Advents? And then that was it. We got used to Ashton for a while, but eventually Advents stuck, and then that was it. And then we kept the name. And I think there's another band called Advent.
The Advent, yeah.
Yeah, and I know we've like had people like, fuck you guys, the real Advent. You guys aren't the real Advent or whatever. But like, bro, we're Advents, not Advent. All right, we're not single.
Yeah, I totally. No disrespect to them, but I totally forgot they existed because they were on hiatus and stuff for a while. So it's like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? So we kind of just ran with it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was looking through your music and whatnot, I was listening to Advents, which is obviously your band, but then I'm listening to something, I'm like, wow, everything sounds very different. Like, this is a very different tune. I looked, and it's The Advent. I'm like, the fuck is this? Yeah,
They probably hate us, to be honest, because we're kind of putting stuff out more than them now because they're an older band, and we're probably appearing for searches for them, so they're probably not very fond of that. But
yeah, well, only one's gonna win the race. I think you guys got that one. So,
well, I mean, I think we can coexist. I'm sure.
Hopefully everybody can be friends. Alrighty. So the next question I have is, was there any bands or artists that inspired the creation of Advents?
Yeah, I mean, we all have different influences. I mean, I know this is a question that comes up a lot in our interviews. Like, so, well, not exactly worded this way, but we all have like our own like preferable, influences and stuff like that. But I don't know. Kaz, you can answer this one. I'll let you answer it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody, the mutual. I mean, it's the obvious answer, but I guess if you look at it as like what are those things called? Venn diagrams or whatever with the circles?
Yeah.
Metalcore is in the middle for the five of us, so like that's where we all overlap. And obviously it's a metalcore band, so that's the common theme, I guess. But then as you branch out, it's like our guitarist Seb is really big into like the heavy stuff that's like produced, I guess you could say, like Alpha Wolf. I mean, the joke is Alpha Wolf and Dealer are his bands all the time, we say, but he's big into that side of metalcore, and then Chaffee's on another side with his preferences. I come from I listen to whatever sounds good to me. I'm all over the place, but in terms of heavy stuff, I got most of this band looks at me like I'm nuts for the stuff I listen to, because it's just like random, grind stuff or like death metal, black metal. I kind of was into the grimier side of metal growing up. So I would say all of those like influences kind of come together to influence what we do, and it's kind of cool because it's not like all of us only listen to metalcore or something like that. But then we'll sit around and reminisce on like, yeah, you remember in middle school when we were all obsessed with Bullet for My Valentine? Like there's some overlap where it's like that comes in. But then I'll mention some other band and Seb is like, what are you talking about? How do you listen to this? Or Spizz looks at me like I have 5 heads for something I put on. So it's like, I guess it's cool that we all have different views on it, and then it like kind of influences what we do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in that similar situation. I actually had a friend on Thursday. He was listening into my show, and I think I was playing Rob Zombie Dragula, and he's like, "This music's putting me to sleep." I'm like, oh, "Okay, like you want me to wake you up?" So I put on Job for a Cowboy, and he's like, "How the hell do you listen to this shit?" I'm like, "Very easily. I have 2 ears and I can hear it."
That's a good answer. That's a good answer, to be honest. Yeah, I do. Like I talk about what's the bands that I talk about? They make fun of me for one band all the time. Oh, like Nails and Nails and Full of Hell are the two that come up most often. Where they're like, all right, Joe. Like, I really get that one. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. That's why everybody's different, and it's all subjective. There's no right or wrong,
Yeah, I'm very versatile in the genres of music I listen to, and especially in rock. Like, I don't listen to much black metal, I'll keep it honest. That's not really my style of music. But aside from that, I mean, you can go all the way from, like, classic rock, soft rock, all the way up to, like, deathcore for me. Like, that's the one thing I always tell people when they tune into my shows is, like, you don't know what you're going to expect. Because you may be listening to a nice tune from the 60s, next minute later you have somebody screaming in your ears about smashing faces with hammers or something. Like,
no, dude, I have a Sirius XM in my car, and the last time I turned it on, it was on 50s on 5, so I hear you.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always like to differentiate things. Overall, with everything in my life, not just like the whole DJing gig and stuff that I'm doing, everything in general, I just like to just differentiate everything and just have everything be diverse. So, especially when I'm on like the air and whatnot, I want to just play everything because I think you guys were in here before we started up the interview. I was playing Avenged Sevenfold, which is I wouldn't even call them. I wouldn't say they're metalcore, right? They would be like hard rock or something like that type of genre. But
I guess I think
their older stuff would constitute metalcore. Now I would put them more in like the radio, maybe not radio rock, but
all heavy metal. I wouldn't call it metalcore. Heavy metal.
Definitely the old stuff, like, but the stuff that everybody knows them for, I guess, at least our age. We're getting old, man. We're getting old.
Yeah, I'm catching up somewhere. I remember being in high school, and then now I'm here 20 years old, sitting on a computer interviewing a band. This is honestly, it's a surreal experience for me to interview bands and to be here doing all of this. This was one of my dreams as I think I got into like metal and rock music when I was like 11 years old because my uncle, he actually DJs on this page sometimes, but he got me into the whole rock genre and DJing and all this stuff, and I was like 11. I obviously couldn't DJ at 11 years old. It would be a terrible look for any radio station that hired me, but I always said I was going to get here one day. I was always going to do this. And then I was like, okay, once I started doing it, I'm like, I got to start interviewing bands. And actually, the last band I interviewed before you guys they're not a very big band per se, but they're called Blue Gem. And these guys, I was a huge fan of their music. They're like indie rock, pop rock. And I was a huge fan of their music, like growing up. So that was a surreal experience. And then sitting here today talking to you guys is... It's wild.
That's it, man. That's really cool to hear. Like I said earlier, I can relate because the first time I did an in-person interview, it was with, I don't know if you know the band Zealand Order, but I sat down with Manuel when I was I think I was like late teens, and I was like freaking out because I love his music and I was like, how did I get here? And then I got to like go to the show and stuff. And yeah, kind of like I said, just keep plugging away. You'll be surprised what you can do.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just trying to look through. I think that actually was all the questions I had for you guys. So before we jump out of here, if you guys have anything to say to the people listening here on Castle Blakk and then eventually on YouTube, because I am recording this session and posting it to YouTube. If you have anything to say, I mean, let them know.
I was going to say, before I say that, is a podcast named after Castle Blakk, like the Game of Thrones, I'm guessing?
I have no idea. You would have to ask Metal Mom in the chat, because she's the owner of the station.
Gotcha.
I'm just a DJ.
Fair enough. But, I think one thing I say is, just, I guess, stay tuned. As I said earlier, song's coming out. New song out in 2 weeks. Follow us on Instagram to keep up with any updates on that. And thank you for having us. Appreciate it, man.
Not a problem at all. All right.
Yeah, so I would say this. Just we got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to be working on new stuff very, very soon as well. So, and then just everything that Spizz said. Instagram's probably the best place that we update the most often, but we're everywhere. It's either Advents Band or Advents US, but adventsband.com has everything.
Yeah, I found you guys through Facebook because that's like where most of my like interactions with bands and DJs and everything else is on. So that's why I contacted you there. I do have an Instagram page. I can link you it when I'm done with the interview and whatnot.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right, cool. So, Joe, Spizz, thank you guys very much for coming on for this interview today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you for having us. Really appreciate you reaching out, and thank you for being flexible as well. I know we were supposed to do this a little earlier, but appreciate you working with us.
Yeah, no problem. It's kind of funny because I was almost about to postpone today because I've been having some sleep problems of my own, and I was like, you know what? No, I was like, we postponed a couple of times, and nah, that's not gonna happen. Like, I have to be here. I have to do this interview no matter what. So, I'm glad I was able to make it out here as well.
Well, yeah, thank you. Sound good to me.
Alrighty, thank you guys again, and yeah, I'm gonna go back to playing some of the music now.